Welcome back, everybody. I have a special guest today. This is my friend JT. He is a producer and filmmaker.
Yeah. Hi,
So,
Emily.
so JT, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, thanks. I'm a producer and director from Texas. I grew up outside of Dallas in a little city called Garland. And, I helped create and produce a show called Cheaters with my mentor, Bobby Goldstein, many moons ago, over 20 years ago. And then I also managed Joe Exotic and produced the original Tiger King pilot and sizzle reel a long time ago as well. So I kind of what do I do? I make trash TV for a living, but but yeah, I'm happy to be here with you
Yeah,
today,
I'm so happy to be here
and
with
glad
you
you invited
too.
me.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely feel like everything happens for a reason. So I'm so
Absolutely.
glad to have you here. I wanted to ask you what initially drew you to a career in filmmaking.
For me, it just kind of happened. Like I said, I was in my late teens, and I was working for Bobby Goldstein. Like, I didn't start out as a producer. I had to do everything. I had to do sound. I had to get coffee. I
Yeah.
had I had to get just whatever was needed. Right. I was a production assistant, and but I had an opportunity to grow with that program. Bobby Goldstein is one of the original architects of reality TV. Like, he was shooting
Yeah.
Cheaters in like '98. So other than the real world, or this just wasn't even a concept, you know. Or if
Yeah.
it was a homologation of ideas, right? Like, it's Cops meets Jerry Springer, or sprinkle in a little Dr. Phil. I don't know,
I
but
love it.
but yeah. So it kind of just happened for me, and I've always been drawn to stories that resonate, or that are raw, or that you normally wouldn't see, or think about.
Hmm.
Joe Exotic is a great example. I worked with Joe Exotic, creating the Tiger King IP with him in 2013, long
Yeah.
before Netflix, and long before the evil lady Carol Baskin set him up, and long before everything happened. You know the the Tiger King was a very real, show.
Yeah.
My gay gun carrying redneck friend that had 200 tigers and two husbands, and like,
What a story.
it was quite a story.
Yeah.
Probably ahead of its time a little bit,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me it just kind of happened,
Yeah.
and it's just something I started doing and something I was passionate about, whether it was, the Cheaters or Tiger King,
Yeah.
or music videos, and working on a lot of other entertainment platforms over the years. I like being a creator and a filmmaker and telling stories that resonate.
Yeah. I love that. Can you describe your typical day as a producer, like on a project? What does that look like?
A typical day for me is very long. I probably work 80 hours a week.
Wow.
I'm going to SMU right now, you know,
That's
getting my
awesome.
MBA. So I don't know why I thought 2 1.5 hour classes a week would not be a big deal, but you don't think about all the asynchronous work and the
Hmm.
stuff you're doing, the 20 hours outside of class that you have to put into that to get out. So for me
Yeah.
right now, a typical day lasts 20 hours, and begins and ends at varying times
Yeah.
between 5 and 10 a.m. I spend a lot of time on the phone calls. We're in pre-production of season 22 of Cheaters. I got a really great partner. Her name is Serena DC. She's got a award-winning production company in LA, and based internationally. And she's working with us on Cheaters and Tiger King.
Hmm.
And so we're kind of taking the helm. She's co-executive producing the new season of Cheaters, and distributing it. So
That's awesome.
it took 22 years, but 22 years now, I'm getting to helm that and work with a great team on bringing Cheaters to life. So that's been taking up some hours as we navigate that stuff. And then I'm working on the Texas Cannabis Chronicles documentary, right? We're in principal photography. We shot some stuff
I'm
with you.
featured in it.
Yeah, it's great. We're going to premiere this at, I'm planning on premiering this at DIFF, at the Dallas International Film Festival,
Wow.
which will be the end of April, April 25th to May 1st. So I don't know what date, but.
Nice. It's very exciting.
And we should have some insight then into what's going on with our legislatures and Lieutenant Dan, who are just a little slow in policy, or they're in Big Pharma's pocket, or whatever's going on that they don't want to help people.
That's it.
But yeah, so a typical day for me just kind of starts and stops at different times, and I'm kind of a producer shooter, so I've shot a lot of the content for the Cannabis Chronicles. Which I did over the years. I worked with World Star Hip Hop, or if you have places you just can't get access to. So a lot of times I'm shooting and producing, but I'm still, switching brains and doing the schedule and the budget and doing my best to keep time of it. So, yeah, I mean, a typical day for a producer. At my age, elderly mini moons JT is kind of extensive, but worth it.
Well, what is your favorite part of the filmmaking process?
I love all aspects of filmmaking, but I really love just being in principal photography. I love shooting, and creating something surreal or visceral, or that can live in this moment of time, like. So probably principal photography is my favorite part, especially if I'm shooting it too, or with a small team, because, the people don't realize how much work actually goes into putting a project together, whether you're pre-producing it and just planning for weeks and months, and then, they look at the couple days you shoot or the couple weeks you shoot, but then you don't see the months before and after that, the post-production, which takes longer than anything. And takes a very special person that can lock themselves in the room for 50 or 60 hours a week and
not go crazy
and move all the little pieces around till it's
Absolutely.
perfect. So, but yeah, my favorite part is probably the creative and also the photography aspect of it.
Absolutely. How has the film industry changed since you got into it? And how have you kind of adapted to those changes?
Oh wow, it's changed drastically, especially spanning my career, which is longer than 2 decades. Because Cheaters started out, it was all linear. We shot on big broadcast units that had like beta tapes and digi betas and stuff you guys don't even know about, right?
It's not sounding familiar.
It's funny is broadcasters are so far behind, they still keep like digibeta tapes. Like they're like, oh, we need digibeta. I'm like, you have decks from 20 years ago for broadcast, but that's so it drastically has changed with the launch of streaming and the emergence of these other platforms. 10 years ago, you would ask me what I did. I would tell you I'm a TV producer. Oh, I'm a cable TV producer, bro. Like, I don't do YouTube or stream. And then now 10 years later, I'm like, oh, hey, I'm a streaming producer.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't go as far to say linear is dead, but linear definitely suffers in like domestic markets, the rest of the world where they're still catching up. So I had to adapt to kind of the digital age with that, and then with COVID as well. In 2020, it completely upset the system.
It did.
I'm very passionate about narrative filmmaking, and have been working on a film a long time called The Scarecrow Bandits, and something I always wanted to do was narrative, but the whole theater business model is changed. The whole infrastructure of Hollywood flipped over after COVID, honestly, just because there's so much competition with streaming and everything's streaming now. And when I was young, you would say, oh, I saw that on TV. Well, nobody now, that's YouTube. Right?
Go to YouTube.
Yeah, I saw that on YouTube as the equivalent of, or Twitch or TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
But not if you're in the US.
That's funny. What current projects are you working on right now?
I have a few really cool projects outside of, we have season 22 of Cheaters and some other exciting stuff with that. I have the Tiger King documentary, The Exotic Truth, which is really a look behind the scenes and telling Joe's story, how he was set up and
Yeah.
by these con men and rats, and
Carol
and
Baskin.
Carol Baskins, like um, Carol Baskin's the biggest gangster in Tiger King, like, and she's on Dancing with the Stars, but I want no problems, Carol Baskin, right? So it's like talking smack about Hillary Clinton or something, right? Or one of the Clintons, and you got to be careful. So
You may end up missing.
right, exactly, like her ex-husband.
Oh my god.
but
That's funny.
but yeah, I'm working on Tiger King. I'm working on Cheaters. I have the Texas Cannabis Chronicles, which
Oh,
focuses on you know what's going on in the state with Texas. You know,
yeah.
Texas is the largest cannabis market in the world right now. It dwarfs the California medical marijuana market. It dwarfs all the other hemp markets. It was
Yeah.
$22 billion in economic activity in the last 4 years alone in Texas. And so
Wow.
if you know politicians can't see that this is not only something that helps people but also is a huge
Absolutely.
economic booster of money that you don't want to feed to the cartel or
That's so
to
true.
or to transnational criminal organizations operating in the black market.
Yeah.
That money should go to Texans and American citizens and to our economy. But so that's a project that's very special to me. I have 5 or 6 projects in production right now. Honestly, I
Yeah.
have a really cool project that's kind of an empowerment piece about my friend Dr. Brady and his wife, also Dr. Brady, Leda Brady. She's an immigrant from Venezuela. She was a doctor in her country, but she couldn't practice here, right? So they're married. They have a practice in Southlake, but she's attending USC to become a doctor here. So I'm shooting a really great feel good piece with them.
That's awesome.
And then I have a true crime piece called The Hart Legacy that touches on the WWE and the McMahons, and I shot a bunch of this stuff with Teddy Hart, who's Bret Hart's nephew, and because prior to this expose piece on Netflix, I don't think people knew about wrestling or how crazy the business really is. So and
Yeah.
coming from someone who shot the Tiger King and stuff, I can tell you the Heart project I shot just blows all that stuff away. It's very intense, and so if
Yeah.
it's the equivalent of being in the cage with a tiger for me again, that's how I know it's gonna translate well to the viewer.
Oh yeah. You got a lot of irons in the fire.
I have a few. I'm juggling a few, um, on top of school and my 2 puppy
Yeah.
dogs.
Yeah.
But
I was curious if you could share a lesson that you've learned from like a production that didn't go as planned and how you adapted to that.
oh, absolutely. The most important part of filmmaking is a collaborative art, so we're only as good as our team, and everybody has to do a very specialized job that lasts many hours with very little sleep. So it's just very important to focus on positivity and finding solutions, not creating problems and drama. I think when I was younger, 10 or 15 years ago, I thought I had it. I was really, but I was really far off the mark. And I think it's most important, just like any field, it's about finding the highest version of yourself so you can work well together with others and collaborate and foster, creativity and hit, your deadlines and your budgets and things like that
Yeah.
at the same time. So
What is the most rewarding part of being a film producer for you? What has been the most rewarding part?
you know I think just being able to do what I enjoy doing. I've been really blessed to have shoot things for a long time. I make my own schedule. I'm shooting a lot of projects for a lot of other people. I do have stuff that I've written and stuff in the pipeline instead of telling everyone else's stories. But I enjoy telling stories that are raw and visceral and engaging and exciting. And so the most rewarding part for me is probably, the experience of getting to tell these stories, to shoot these things, to live these moments that even that then, because honestly, like back to what makes a good worker is also being humble, right? Which I'm trying really hard to be these days. And being thankful for where I've been and what I've done, because honestly, I'm a glorified button pusher. I was at the right moment at the right time, and I hit the button,
Yeah.
and then that resonated. Maybe
Yeah.
it took 8 years, like Tiger King,
Yeah.
but I feel blessed to have experienced these things. The most rewarding part is being able to have worked on these legacy IPs and work with these great people and brands that have been out there for 10 and 20 years, like Joe Exotic, who's a good friend of
Yeah.
mine and a good person, and and like my mentor Bobby Goldstein, or being able to work on Cheaters,
Yeah.
22 years later is just a blessing.
Absolutely. And I think believing in yourself too
Oh yes,
has a lot to do with it.
absolutely.
And then when you see other people believing in you too, you're like, "Oh, I really believe in myself now."
Oh, that helps.
So-
Self-doubt is so even to me. People don't think it. I struggle with things like everybody else.
Yeah.
People see the outside, or because social media is fake.
Yeah.
This is the plastic we all show the world,
Yeah.
right? And that's unfortunate, but that's not a good space to live. I don't try to live.
No. That's why we're going to be real on this show.
Yeah, exactly. I love it.
Well, I wanted to ask you, what advice would you give to aspiring producers trying to break into the industry?
I don't know. Producing is about taking risks, and believing in yourself. Actually, this is so important. And it's also about people and relationships. So going back to the what I was saying earlier is you have to have a good team, good people to work with, people to support you. It's very much political as it is about what you're creating, and because lots of people have good art everywhere. Lots of people can shoot stuff great, but it's like, what are you doing with it afterwards, or how does it impact people, or where are the value drivers in this?
That's so true. Well, JT, I sure appreciate you coming on here and just sharing your story, being here, being yourself.
No, thank you.
So, absolutely.
I'm very excited. You have an inspirational story and a cool show, and
Thank you.
I'm sure you're going to do great things with it.
Absolutely. Well, guys, tune in for our next episode next week.
Later, y'all.